and undertake to abide by all the dictates of the Code of Conduct. The ANC also reaffirms its commitment to political tolerance, peaceful coexistence with other parties, as well as free political activity throughout our country. We look forward to a robust and peaceful electioneering period at equal level and successful election on the 3rd of August. No advantage will be given to any. We canvass and participate equally as equal parties. Those who will win, we'll congratulate them, but we'll also congratulate those who would not win for their participating in this important calendar of our democracy. Thank you very much, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you, political parties. Let us do it fairly. Okay, thank you very much.
May I please invite the representative of the African People's Convention, the APC, please.
Thank you, Program Director, Chairperson of the IEC, and Commissioners, Comrade President of the Republic, comrades, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the APC, the Party of Revolution, I rise to reaffirm and state our long-standing commitment to ethical campaigning and to free and fair elections. It is a firm belief of the APC that elections are an opportunity for the popular will of the people to be expressed. Elections must not lead to strife and instability as witnessed in other countries the world over. The APC commits to, as they say, a clean fight, to play the ball and not the man. We will use the campaigns to articulate our policies and bring to the fore issues that affect our people, the African people in general and the working class in particular, as well as the rural poor. The IEC has had challenges, perceived and real, but as the APC, we have full confidence in the integrity of the IEC. However, our issue of concern to the IEC and the political parties is the tables, gazebos, and party regalia on election day. The APC calls for the restriction of these things. They are unnecessary and unduly interfere with the rights of voters to vote in a tranquil atmosphere. Lastly, as the APC, we wish all progressive parties the best of luck in the elections. We have a duty and a responsibility to wage an uncompromising and unrelenting ideological struggle against especially the liberals and those parties that hunt with the dogs and run with the hare. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I please invite the representative of Ahang SA to make the commitment and sign the pledge.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. As Ahang SA, ours is a political home that calls on citizens to reclaim their early promise of our democracy. We dream of a country in which citizens enjoy the fruits of democracy and are able to aspire to achieve their dreams. We dream of a country where citizens comes first. As Ahang SA, we plead with those tasked with administering our elections to act totally within the legal prescripts of the electoral law, so that the election results reflects the voice of the voters, but not the voice of those who were in charge. Voting is an individual voice, and that voice must be respected. The right to vote is not only a constitutional right, but it was also earned through the blood of our own people. As such, we, Agang SA, would like to pledge on behalf of our members and supporters that we will observe and uphold the Code of Conduct unconditionally. We will not be part of those who seek to bring conditions and desire to undermine the spirit of free and fair elections or create hostile environment. Lastly, we will encourage our members and supporters to be tolerant, to ensure that all citizens cast their votes in an environment deserving human dignity. I thank you.
Right. The representative of the Congress of the People, COPE, to please make their commitment and sign the pledge, please.
It is with pride that on behalf of the Congress of the People, I join sister political parties in making a pledge on this occasion to a participation in the election that will make South Africa a better country. I think it is important that we make a call on the voters on this occasion to take particular care to remember that this code says that we have to hear different views, hear all of the views, so that we are able to make informed choices. Unless citizens do not or respect each other's right to campaign, to listen to everybody, and then ultimately make their choice, then voting loses its meaning. It is for this reason that we will encourage both competitors and our own members to listen to each other, to learn, and therefore to make a choice which ultimately will make South Africa a greater, better, united country. I thank you.
Thank you. May I please invite the representative of the Democratic Alliance, the DA, to make the commitment and sign the pledge, please.
Africa Borwa Dumelang. These elections take place at a very crucial time in our country, where in fact we need to make a choice between corrupt governments and honest ones. We need to ensure that for the 8.9 million South Africans who are without work, that these elections offer hope to them to say that there can be a change that can be bought through the ballot box, not through any other means. And therefore the elections on the 3rd of August give South Africans at home that particular choice. Bagaetso, Chairperson, the President, this pledge is enshrined in our Constitution. And as a party, that Constitution maintains that we must have free and fair elections. And as a party, I stand to say we will uphold and defend that Constitution and make sure that these elections are indeed free and fair. However, I think all of us should understand the fact that there are two threats that face these respective elections. It's obvious without doubt that the role of the IEC, firstly, has been something that has been now a court matter. And therefore I request that, now we are signing this pledge, that as the chairperson has said, the IEC must be at the forefront of ensuring that these elections are free and fair. But the second challenge is when political parties use state machinery and patronage to be able to distribute in communities to fight elections. Those two components are not covered in this respective pledge and should in fact be covered. So I sign it, and yet I urge South Africans that we must take an earnest view at what will be a closely contested election, a robust one, and I invite the international community to make sure that we monitor these elections and ensure that they are free and fair. For ultimately, it would always be the will of the people, not the will of the food parcels, but the will of the people to ensure that they choose the government of their making. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Can I please invite the representative of the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF, to make their commitment and sign the pledge, please.
Leaders of political parties, the Economic Freedom Fighters realizes, as a government in waiting, that our path towards a full and true democracy does not only lie in the process of campaigning, but more especially in the activities of the IEC that must shape the process at the voting stations and subsequently the protection of the process of counting the ballot papers that follows. In true commitment to the Constitution and upholding its expectations as a Chapter 9 institution. Over and above all, these things are characteristic of an election campaign. The EFF beckons and pleads with the IEC to exercise its very own good ethic and practice, impartiality, integrity, transparency, and accountability in executing the Electoral Code of Conduct, equal to its expectations of all political parties, in ensuring a balanced and unbiased electioneering platform, both in the media and on the ground, and in particular, ensuring that the employees of the IEC are not affiliated to any political party. The EFF has been an igniter of democracy and has called to order those who have failed to comply with both legal, state, and societal prescripts. We will observe the Code of Conduct and place an obligation on all participants in this election to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I please invite a representative of the Inkatha Freedom Party, the IFP, to make that commitment and sign the pledge, please.
On behalf of Inkatha Freedom Party, its leaders, candidates, and members, I commit to uphold the provisions of the Electoral Code of Conduct in 2016. The coming elections takes place in an atmosphere of heightened political awareness. The electorate holds strong conviction on how they will cast their vote. Economic distress and social upheavals distinct in the minds of our people the need to cast their vote for the sake of securing the future. The stakes are high, therefore, in 2016, and the landscape is set to change. In these circumstances, we know that the threat of electoral manipulation looms large. The IFP believes that free and fair elections are the foundation of democracy. As much as we secure the right to vote, we must respect the right to have our vote respected without manipulation and intimidation of any kind. We respect the role of the Commission in this regard and commit to support its work as we have always done. The IFP has been vigilant in every election, highlighting cases of fraud, intimidation, and buying of votes, and we've been working with the Commission to secure real democracy. Our nation deserves nothing less. Our people are struggling under the burden of poverty and escalating food prices. Many are angry over poor service delivery and corruption in leadership. Their voices must be heard so that we might place municipal governance on the path of recovery. The IFP condemns any party that would buy people's vote, whether with state resources, empty promises, or divisive rhetoric. We must ensure that the genuine will of the people is expressed in these elections. It is the only hope South Africa has for protecting our hard-won democracy. The IFP champions free and fair elections. Thank you.
Those were live.